Well,
What's up?
Grand Evening. How you doing? How you doing?
How you doing? You look good as a vibrating logo.
And as an avatar, vibrating avatar.
Yeah, vibrating avatar. Like man, it reminds me of that movie. Let's not go that deep tonight. What's up?
Hey, well, I got to give everybody a heads up. So I'm experimenting tonight, not utilizing my camera feed. Maybe that might help with my streaming. We'll see. My redneck internet, as we call it out here in the state of misery in the Ozarks. You know,
I'd like to give you an answer on that already because the opening one was still shit. So, uh,
that's
Larry.
great.
I mean,
Well, that's good.
we got the gist of it. I mean, everyone probably has seen that video along the way. If they haven't, then they just woke up and happen to hit your channel and they're here and they have no idea about how their brains are going to melt out for the first time. But everyone has seen that video and gets what happened and there's a plan going on and all of that. And later, stick around because Dr. Tenner is going to tell you how to get out of that plan and step back into your life and start becoming the powerful creator that you are. And they aren't just words because I have proof because I'm changing my life right in front of people's eyes because I got the memo. Anyway, ML, you can't like come on and show your pretty face while you're talking and while you're not streaming. Or I mean, I don't mind. I used to be an actor and I was like a camera whore, so I don't mind being the only one on camera. I'm used to this stuff, but just Dr. Tenner's 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna try it without the camera and see if
Okay.
that actually improves
So what I'll
it.
do is when you're doing your
So
spielio,
we'll see.
when you start getting with your brain melting, dealio, I'll go off camera too because I want people to just maybe the pulsating avatar will actually really get really in there and it'll be deep, so they'll have to just stare at the screen and and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I was just thinking about something before you get started
Hmm.
there. Um, I always notice, people are asking questions and stuff through, through the live chats and stuff, even when I was doing stuff, and you could just never get to them because you're, like I'm a one man show, and it's like I can't read the questions, do the show, be in the groove, give the information that the Holy Spirit has flowing through you. And there's always questions, so maybe as we move forward, maybe we could just do a quick night. People can email in questions and stuff like that, and we can take the really important ones that are the most confusing ones that will help people best to raise their frequency because that's how this movie ends. And maybe we can fit that in.
Love it.
We could talk about it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Um, let's do a shout out like I'd like to do. I've got a lot of followers that have been with me for about 4 years. So I want to give a shout out to CJ. Thank you for being here. Betty Shoop, thank you for being here. Betty's been with me like literally, I think, since my very first broadcast. Tess, thank you for being here.
Betty!
Judy Saban, thank you for being here. Ron Starr, thank you. Kevin, thank you. Roxana, Roxanne. Yeah, thank you for being here.
Roxanne!
Great. Uh, oh, Diane, thank you for being here. Appreciate that very much. Gary, thank you for being here as well. So, all right. So tonight is a continuation. Deb, thank you for being here. Of where we were at on Wednesday night when my internet feed cut out. I guess we cut out at the right time when we needed to cut out. It left you guys hanging, wanting for more. So here we are, giving you more. All right. Um, so
Can I make another
you
announcement before you
know,
get started, ML?
well, yeah, go right ahead.
People might be wondering what the SMD is on the Dr. Tenner. That's social media Dr. Tenner, and I have to make an announcement that I am partially closing my practice. It's still going to stay open because I'll still be writing scripts of how to tap into your power and get Jesus Christ and start leaving a lot of that stuff behind. the matrix and stuff like that. And hopefully I'm proving it to people as they see the positive things that are going on in my life. But I'm closing the sheepnesia section because I've done and said all I can. Our friends and family think we're batshit crazy over the things that we've tried to let them see. A lot of people are still caught up in that, and that's how we step out of this. When you step out of that, and hopefully later on, I'll get a little into detail on this, and I'll write a few scripts if we're needed. You can email me. I'll give you the email address, and I'll send you a script of how to do that. But yeah, that's it. That's what we're and ML's going to drop some bombs about from the very beginning of how we got here, what happened. It's really gonna be a lot. So don't try to multitask. Like, turn everything off and focus on what's happening here. And you'll probably have to watch the show again. I had to get it 2 times, and it's just so important. But this doesn't mean that this is happening again. Like, when you listen to this information again, I think ML will agree with me. We're going to know kind of like where we came from, what we're kind of in the middle of. But the ending of this, just when you get all this information, you understand how just breathtaking and biblical and galactic this whole thing is, because it's the truth. It doesn't mean that a flash is happening next week and you could still like just stay waiting around. I believe we have a marathon to go, and I've been saying we've got a marathon for a couple years. So those that have been with me from the beginning can confirm that I've been saying we have a marathon. If you're still waiting for the 10-day, the EBS, anyway, I'll do that later. So I just want you to understand this. We're in a marathon here. This is all true, and this will come to light someday, I believe, in our lifetime. I don't think it's like, in 6 months or a year. Would you like to just comment on that, Emma, before you get started? And then I'm going to shut my mic off, and you can start melting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, no, we had a couple years still left. We're transitioning into the golden age, guys. And the golden age, hello?
No, I'm saying,
my mic's working.
Are you listening? Are you listening to ML? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Listening. Thank you. Gotcha, brother. All right.
A couple of years.
So
we're going to make a smooth transition into the golden age. A smooth transition. All right. I'm shutting my mic off. I love you
all right, brother. Sounds good. So we are transitioning into a smooth golden age, guys. All right. We'll do a show that breaks down what the golden age is all about, what that actually implies, what that means for us, because there's a lot of dis and misinformation out there. All right. And again, you have absolute power to control and manifest your realities. So if you guys want to manifest an antichrist figure coming to rock your world and destroy your creation, well, you can do that. That's your prerogative. It's not going to happen in my timelines. Won't probably happen on Tanner's timelines because that's not where we're going. We're already ascended consciously, like many of you that are listening, watching. You guys have already done half the work. You've ascended consciously, Christ consciously, 4 and 5D. Or you want to be listening to this. And I guarantee you the title tonight, The Grand Experiment, HUE-mankind versus the fallen angel mankind DNA part, guys' attention. All right, so let's do this. Let's bring some context, because we have to have some context here first and foremost. All right, so I'm gonna reiterate where I was at last week. All right, so these are just some points of validation that I want you guys to consider. And I'm going to shed a lot more further light on this human versus mankind, DNA revelation. You see, I received revelation back in November of 21, and I shared it the first time on Mike Penny's show. And Mike didn't know what to do with it. And the show, the guys that he had on that particular episode, I think one of them was a pedo, and there was some other guy or something like that too. They didn't know what to make of it either, because they weren't meant to hear it. And that's why they didn't know how to process it. They couldn't add to it. They couldn't ask questions about it. It just went over their heads. And that's okay. It wasn't meant for them. It was meant for those who needed to hear it. And so here we are. All right. So I'm going to use pretty much some historical or contemporary evidences via the Bible to start laying some context and foundation. So we go back to the forbidden fruit of Genesis. It's an allegory. It's an allegory, guys. It wasn't an actual thing where Eve ate an apple or a fig or whatever you want to call it. It's not how that happened. It was an allegory. In the forbidden fruit, Eve was beguiled by the serpent. That's what she said. The serpent beguiled me, right? Well, the English translation of that word beguiled just means to trick. But when you look at the actual, like the Hebrew or the Aramaic translation of the word beguiled, it actually means to trick one into a sexual situation, to have one's way with it in a sexual manner through trickery. That takes on a whole new connotation rather than just to be tricked. They were deceived, all right? So Eve had a set of twins. Now, I know most biblical scholars are going to say, ML, you're full of shit. You've fallen off the wagon. Eve didn't have twins because Cain was the older brother. Abel was the younger brother. That's correct. They weren't, fraternal twins. They were actually twins because of a medical term called heteropaternal superfecundation. Heteropaternal superfecundation. Say that 10 times fast. Heteropaternal superfecundation is a medical term where a woman becomes impregnated by different partners and can have a set of twins, set of triplets. I mean, in the animal kingdom, cats and dogs, it happens to them all the time, right? So this is how she begot twins, Cain and Abel, by two different fathers. Adam sired Abel. Now, who sired Cain? This is where we start laying the foundation of the seed, of the humankind versus mankind seed, where it originated from. So Samael, who was actually part of what we now know as the Jehovah's Anunnaki race, who is the person who actually sired Cain. Cain was, born a son of perdition from the very beginning, right? So the Jehovah's Anunnaki are who we call the fallen angelic race. And this is part of what we know as the Anu Elohim Yehovani Dimension 11 Dark Avatar Collective. And what that means is this particular group of the angelic race, the fallen angelic race as we call them, they only have an 11-strand DNA construct. We have a 12-strand DNA construct. So now you kind of understand why this particular group came to Earth to come after us humans, which I'm going to break down even in greater detail here in just a little bit. We were created in the 12th dimension. Our souls were created in the 12th dimension, and in our souls was created the 12-strand DNA construct. All right? There's a cosmic law that many people aren't familiar with. It's called the law of eternal progression. All right? And what that means is that all ascended masters, Christed beings, and so forth like that, higher level angelics, if you will, they were all created at higher levels, so they had to descend to ascend. And that's what we're doing. We're following God Source's blueprint for us. So we, as human beings, are the only human species in our universe, and the name of our universe is called the Nebadon universe. All right? We are the only human beings in the Nebadon universe that have a 12-strand DNA construct. Other human species does not have that high of DNA construct. Whereas these angelics, they only have an 11-strand. That's why they're called the Anu Elohim Yehovani D11 Dark Avatar Collective. Angels For context, angels is a word that we gave to these extraterrestrial beings from other dimensions of reality. And these dimensions are separate reality fields, okay? We're not able to even travel. They're not even able to travel here into our reality field without a Stargate, guys. And this is why Stargates are so imperative on this planet. And there's at least 12 Stargates on this planet that we know of right now. They have to access these Stargates to be able to come from their dimensions of reality to our dimensions of reality. That's how angels, as we call them, travel. That's how extraterrestrial beings travel. They cannot come here via linear timelines. That's not how it works. They have to open up portals. So Eve is known as the mother of all living, right? Eve is the mother of the humankind seed and the mankind seed. This is where we actually, have a better understanding of, well, what do you mean? Humankind versus mankind. There's two species of human here on this planet. One comes from the humankind seed, which is the Abel, Seth line. Mankind seed comes from the Cain line, the fallen angelic line, all right? You'll find it interesting when Adam was naming his wife, and I'm referencing Hebrew, all right? So Adam named his wife Hava. Hava in Hebrew means life giver. Hava. Adam named his stepson Cain. Cain actually means acquired or possession in Hebrew because he wasn't his birthright, guys. Adam named Abel. Abel means breath of life. Breath of life. It was 130 years after the death of Abel before Adam and Eve bear Seth, before they had Seth. When Adam named Seth, the word Seth means substitution or compensation because Seth fulfilled Abel's role and actually replaced him. So now you have context of where humankind seed sprung forth from, the mankind seed sprung forth from. All right? All right. I love everybody's comments. Thank you. Went to North Carolina rally with Tanner and Shelley in July of 2016. It was cold and raining in the whole time. Okay. All right. So here we go. Now that we've set precedents on where we get humankind versus mankind lineage at, all right, we also need to believe that there is a great deal of truth that's actually contained in the Bible and in certain, Christian beliefs. It doesn't matter how metaphorical or allegorical, that content may be. There are truths that are contained. And some of the world's most influential events known in history comes from Genesis, the Old Testament, right? And we can track a lot of these events going back to Genesis, the Old Testament, to our present day, to who we are dealing with right now with the Khazarian, Ashkenazi, crypto-Jewish people, who we call Zionists, because that's pretty much who controls our planet right now, has been controlling our planet for a long time. And the crux of this argument, guys, is, that at the highest levels, contemporary wealthy Zionist elites are actually directly descended from what we call these biblical false HUEs. And they're directly related, guys, to these Jehovah's Anunnaki fallen angelic legions of 250,000 years ago. That's an epic time period. That's what an epic period of time consists of. 250,000 years. All right. So this group bloodline, they've maintained their powers of position for a very long time, pretty much through, an unbroken chain of knowledge and command. Only being achieved while they were worshiping Baal worship was actually satanic sacrifices and Luciferian practices, guys. And I know that's one of the biggest things that people have a hard time accepting is nowhere in the scriptures, and I know a little bit about the scriptures, okay? Nowhere in the scriptures does it allude that Satan and Lucifer are the same entity, same person, same individual. It doesn't exist, guys. Okay, it just doesn't. Satan is actually a soul group that's been around for billions and billions and billions of years. And we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. Lucifer, or Luciferian, is the practices that these satanic soul groups participate in itself. All right? So you have the group collective consciousness, satanic, Satan, and then you have their actions, their deeds, which is Luciferian. That's their practice. That's their worship, if you will. So I'm going to break this down. And we're going to have to do this, in pretty easy, digestible segments. We'll do it tonight and probably have to do it in at least one, maybe two more, because this is going to go really deep. But I want it to be very, very detailed for you guys, because I want you to be able to share this with a lot of people, and I want you to be able to understand it so you can tell people, hey, you're going to have a great conversation piece at your Thanksgiving dinner here in not too long, guys. And you're probably going to make some friends, and you're probably going to run off some of your favorite in-laws or outlaws, if you will, right? So, I love it. I absolutely love this. All right, so let's break down the fallen angels and what the grand experiment is. And I know many of you guys have never heard the term the grand experiment. Well, let's go back to Genesis. So, when God, and I'm talking about the God of the Old Testament, all right? The God of the Old Testament, we can call him Yahweh, Yahovah, whatever you want to call him. If you read the Sumerian tablets, it's Anu. You have Marduk, you have Ra, you have all these different characters. But there is a God of the Old Testament that cursed his own creation. This is actually one of the most important points in the Old Testament. And it's, pretty germane today, because this is how the New World Order Zionists have their planet, our planet, in their sadistic, destructive claws, because we didn't know this. I've had some amazing conversations this last week with several men of cloth who are very well learned scholars in biblical theology. And I had this conversation with them and broke it down for them over a 2-hour period, and it rocked their world, because they didn't know this existed. Truth always stands in its own light. Light always stands on its own merit over time. And just so you guys know, this is not AI, it's me. I'm just trying an experiment here, because my camera on StreamYard here, StreamYard uses camera, video, footage, feed, and audio. And what I'm trying to do is see if it can conserve the latency on my internet and help me with better streaming quality if I'm not utilizing the camera while I'm using the audio at the same time. Okay? So I just want you guys to know there's no AI being used.
I'll pop in every
What's
now and
that?
again. I said I'll pop in every now and again just to show people we're real and stuff like that. Hey, everybody, I'm Dr. Tenner, social media doctor. For those of you tuning in, hope you're okay. Is everyone good? Anybody need me to check your heart rate? Are your brains starting to melt out yet? I don't know if I could do this to the internet, but I think you're all okay so far. All right, please continue, ML. All right, I'll be right back. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, brother. All right, so like I said, we're going back into the book of Genesis. So the God of the Old Testament cursed his own creation, guys. This is actually one of the most important points in the Old Testament. When you go into the first few pages of Genesis, and I'm talking like from chapter 1 through 6, excuse me, it's explained that God created something that God hated, guys. God considered it a mistake. Now, I know that's like really hard for a lot of people to accept. Like, wait a second, that's blasphemous, ML. You're saying that God created something that God hated and God made a mistake and it was so horrendous, right? Well, I'm going to explain to you guys later, because this mistake became what we now refer to as the beast. It took a long time for this thing to become the beast. All right? That's why it's so evil, because God rejected it a very, very long time ago. And it's actually been on its own without the light of God's source. Ever since that time, it was rejected. You see, this began to change when it made a deal with God's source. And that's when the grand experiment, as we call it, it kicked off, starting with Abraham, guys. So even with today's contemporary metaphysicians, they call this God mistake that led to Satan's power, they call it the primary anomaly. That's what it's referred to, okay? And it's kind of weird, but it really is like this interaction of free will and the quantum potentials of thought, because it really was an accident, basically. You see, God made a mistake, and I'm talking about the God of the Old Testament. I am not talking about the infinite prime creator, God's source of all creation, that has created the blueprint for the cosmos, the cosmos, the planets. I'm talking about there are creator gods. We call them Elohim for singular and Elohim for plural. There are creator gods that are in the council of creators that follow the blueprint in which God's source put out there to help assist in creations. And they have stewardship over those creations. So the God of this earth that helped create this earth with the blueprint from God's source made a mistake. That's how the angels fell. At this time, or not this time, but back at that time, there were actually 3 races of Anunnaki that were on this planet. Some of them were called Watchers. Some of them were called the Sons of God. And again, for clarity purposes, what I'm referring to is the God of the Old Testament narrative, not the infinite prime creator, Father, Mother, God, source, guys. Because anybody that's been following me for any length of time knows I've already established this fact for many, many people for years about other creator gods, creator beings known as gods, that have helped in these creations throughout these galaxies. This group fell because God accidentally created them very powerful as angels. And they were supposed to do his bidding because, we hear the term that Lucifer and the host of heaven, which means angels, they fell from God's grace, right? That's the allegory that we're told. That's the narrative that we all grew up in Sunday school class, is that Lucifer, the head light-bearing angel with a bunch of other angels, fell from God's grace. That's correct. But that's oversimplifying it. So they fell because they were given too much power and they didn't know how to use that power because they weren't given instructions on how to use this power, because they had the power to manifest things in thought. And the God of this earth within the Old Testament, he unfortunately allowed this group, this soul group, to get a little bit too far away, from the infinite prime creator's plan. And that's why they fell. like I said, they, simplified, they fail when they use their God, given super abilities for selfish and destructive ends, which is what we see happening all the time. So I'm going to answer CJ's question. Are all angels male? Negative. They are male nor female. All right? They're neither. They're asexual. So basically, this is what we're referring to as eating from the tree of life, a reference to stealing traumatized spirit soul energies through killing and, like genetic manipulation, guys. This is also known as loosh harvesting. Loosh, Loosh, harvesting. You see, we don't really need to wrap our heads around these terms like primary anomaly or quantum potentials at this moment, but fallen angels is abstract enough. That's all we really need to focus on right now. We simply only need to think of the horrendous things that Earth's human beings have done to each other, that we continue to do to this day on this planet, right? We've inflicted a lot of horrendous things on other sentient creatures. We've inflicted horrible things against women and how we've treated women by men since the dawn of time, guys. I mean, the oldest profession on this planet, hello. How about child labor, child abductions, human sex slave trafficking? We are putting our boys in to be trained at a very, very young age to go off and fight into wars. That list keeps going on and on and on. It's not getting any shorter, it's getting longer. Leaders and politicians, corporations, they don't care because they're all connected to this same satanic soul group. And very few people, guys, very few people seem to even care that most people who seem to be, well fed or housed, they're actually forced to work as virtual slaves, right? We're hamsters on these hamster wheels, barely sustaining ourselves. Not many seem to actually care about themselves being enslaved, in this economic machine that the Zionist warmongering, New World Order has put in place. Pretty much the beast rules, because the beast is a satanic soul collective group of malevolent extraterrestrials, guys. I just laid it out there for you, really simple. You should go back to your leaders of your congregations in your churches and ask them, why don't we know more about these angels? Why don't we know where they come from? Why don't we know more about their purpose here? Why don't we know more how they've manipulated man's DNA since the beginning of time, so to speak? You're going to blow their minds. You're going to blow their minds. And they can't tell you, because when they go to their seminaries and they're trained and taught, they're only trained and taught to recite scriptures. They're paid to recite scriptures, all right? They're not trained to think. So in a nutshell, the beast is disconnected from the infinite prime creator, God's source's light.
ML?
Yeah.
Did you actually just drop a bomb and it might have gone over a lot of people's heads? Because I want you to say that again. Did you actually just tell, because words are spelling, that's the whole thing, right? That's what's going on in a lot of that Bible, right? Because if you read it and you say it, you're spelling, you're manifesting. That's why we're in this psych ward. We're getting out, hopefully in the next year or two, whatever. But did you actually just tell everyone the word spelling that they put right? Go read scripture. Go read the word of God. Go read the manipulated script. Did you just tell everyone it's a script? And that's what they name? Because I read a lot of scripts because I used to do some acting and stuff, but it's all fake. See, scripts are a story. Right. Some are on real stories, and a lot of shows are made up shit. like shit made up. So a script, for the most part, I guess, of scripts that exist in the world, most scripts are shit made up, right? To the ratio of what you watch on TV, a real life documentary.
Yep.
So the ratio of scripts
To the boxing match last night.
What's that?
To the boxing match last night.
Boxing match, which I'm going to touch on later. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone heard that. So your script that you've been reading was written by, is everyone okay after you realize what scripts are? Scriptures, they're script. Everyone good? I can, all right. The hearts are all still beating. I got it. I came in through the Wi-Fi. I got it. All right, good. Beautiful. Continue. Script.
All right.
Put that script down for a while. Scriptures, put that script down, put that shit made up down for a little while, and tap into the real stuff that's all in here. Doctor, we'll be back later to explain that a little bit. Thank you, ML. You just dropped a bomb. I hope the whole world hears that, because you heard it here first, everybody.
Just what the doctor ordered. Just what the doctor ordered. Thank you very much. All right. So again, the beast became this disconnected group from the infinite prime creator, God, source's light, right? But has these supernatural powers of the angelics to create by manifesting in thought. So when the beast, who, we'll call the host of the satanic soul group, was banished, it was then denied everlasting life. Just go back in Genesis 6, guys. It's all right there. It's all right there. There's an amazing book written by Gary Wayne called The Genesis 6 Conspiracy. It's a light read. It's like 800 or 900 pages, something like that. It's a light read, but it's a great book. It's the most prolific book on Genesis 6 I've ever digested. And I've digested a few books on Genesis 6. Very well done by Gary Wayne. And it's not a shameless plug because I'm not making any money off of it. I just like Gary Wayne. He's a great researcher. So I'm going to break down what the beast is. I'm going to characterize 5 ways of what the beast is. 1, the beast is disconnected from, God's source, right? 2, the beast is endowed with these creative manifesting abilities that are far, far beyond what typical Earth humans can actually understand, guys. The beast is 3, in constant fear that it's going to be annihilated. That's why it does what it does, out of self-preservation. The beast is number 4, denied everlasting life, because it no longer is permitted to reincarnate into physical form, which is why it must steal spiritual energy and possess the body of others. Now you know what possession's all about. Got it? And then the beast, it's given like this one chance, this, the great epic on our planet that's culminating right now, to be integrated into humanity to save that part of itself that's worthy of God, known as the remnant, that's you and I, by harmonizing with the soul essences of beings who are actually still allowed to reincarnate all the way up to 2018. For those that didn't know, newsflash, reincarnation, that program, ended in 2018. Precisely, it was June or July of 2018. That's when that ended. So if you have a loved one that has passed away after June, July of 2018, they're not reincarnating. They have moved forward, just so you know. And they didn't move forward to heaven. They didn't descend or go to hell, because those don't exist, guys. Go ahead, brother.
Still, we're hanging on. Okay, good.
All right, hanging on. Life support. Okay. And the last part of this that I just talked about, this epic period, is probably the most esoteric. And it's probably the most important part of what the beast actually is. Because you guys have to know that, during the current epic, like I said, the past 250 years or so, it's about reintegrating into God's source's creation, that which can actually be salvaged from the beast. And this coincides with what the special love message was from Saint Germain the other day, talking about, there were 4 soul groups. And in group number 4, there were 2 paths, right? The two paths, path A, path B, was those who are of the beast system, who are of the mankind DNA genetic makeup, guys. That's what it's for. So, the word Israel. It's a 3-syllable word. Israel. Well, Is means the serpent god, guys. Ra is the sun god. El means of God. Again, this is a really, esoteric concept. And as such, it's the single most significant word which characterizes this great epic on earth known as the Grand Experiment. And what this equation is actually saying is that the serpent god Is will be forever hosted in this dual-minded human along, with sun god Ra. And that which is true always comes back to source El, the root. That's us. So the remnant harmonizes with God's source's light. And it's integrated back into humanity. So that we're, someday it may actually, once again, be able to integrate back into the multiverse. So let me say that again. This remnant harmonizes with God's source's light and is integrated back into humanity so that we may once again have a multiverse that is not dominated by disharmony, guys. This is what the Great Ascension Harvest is all about, divine ones. This is, God making amends for rejecting his own creation. And that's what all the religions of this great epic are about. All the, what's this word I'm thinking of? The metaphysical studies and theories, known on earth since the time of Genesis. They're about God making amends to the beast for rejecting his own creation by allowing the beast to come through mankind. I didn't say humankind, I said mankind, the seed of Cain, the dual host, and come to God with that part of the beast that's willing to realign itself with source once again. This is what it's meant by the Grand Experiment, guys. And I'm going to be probably repetitious tonight, but that's how a lot of us learn, through repetition. So again, God banished his own creation, and to elaborate, this is what Genesis was really trying to say to us, that this soul collective of these fallen angelics, being without, God's source, ended up creating the beast in the form of what we call the serpent, which really only are these reptilian races of the Anunnaki. And they don't even need bodies because they're very powerful fallen angels, guys. And meanwhile, we have obedient divine angels known as like cherubims and seraphims and powers. They had a plan for Earth Tara. Earth Tara is 5D, 6D Earth to be re-inhabited or inhabited by light beings. Light beings that are untainted humans with silica-based bodies who have a 12-strand, DNA construct with chakras to go with them. This divine human design was of this perfected body, one that would actually allow humans to live and create in the 7D, the perfected body of man that actually could master seventh dimensional existences, which leads to complete ascension of mind and of body, of your spirits, your souls. You see, that plan was thwarted. And there was conflict because the beast was still here in 3D Earth Terra. 3D Earth is named Terra. 5D, 6D Earth is named Tara. Just so you guys know, there's a difference. Excuse me, I just need to get a drink of water real quick. All right. Pardon me. So when God, Source, bumped into the old beast again, when God tried to give the earth to human light beings, God said, uh-oh, we got to get rid of that, the beast, right? God Source doesn't need the beast. Nobody does. But the beast was still a creation by God Source. And so the beast had rights. So God Source and the beast, they kind of had a talk, guys. They came up with this plan. And so the God of the Old Testament would make amends as part of that plan to the beast and allow its soul essences to reharmonize back to the God Source light before being judged. This all coincides with what Saint Germain said was going to happen in the plan. So the sentence would be like after judgment, right? It would actually be either integration, with everlasting life, or like complete final destruction, guys. And it's right there in Genesis chapter 6. It breaks it all down. The entire chapter does. So this is where a mess starts happening. The beast and all of its hosts contain a very tremendous amount of trapped, warped soul energies. And it's having a hard time realigning itself with God's source because of that, because of the innocent of these trapped soul energies, because it's completely intertwined with the spirit of the beast. And it's, kind of an allergy that it's developed against God's source. And this has only been getting, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I was going to let you go, but this is such a time because this is the stuff that I'm going to talk about later. Not everyone calm down. Let me finish the sentence, okay, before you have a stroke. So do you see what happened? We've been infiltrated, right? Even in our lives, right? In a level, we're having a hard time ourselves. We're not the beast. Maybe there's a couple of people maybe left over on the planet here. I'm not sure because I think the beast is gone. But maybe you could explain this right here, ML, because this is very important because this is what I'm going to touch on later. We are still caught up in, and you've heard this too, like this, you're blowing my mind, but like we're still caught up in a beast system. Now, I believe Q was good. We all had to go through what we went through, which I'm going to touch on later. But some of us are having trouble. Some of us are having trouble as we speak. And I'm not saying you're the beast. We're still caught in the beast system that the beast created over whatever millennia or however it was. So the main problem and main focus right now is that we, people listening to you in this movement, some of us, not me, because I did it, and that's what I want to share. I still got a little bit to go, but I'm on my way. Right. That's why life is just getting better because I'm no longer caught in the beast system. But many people listening tonight, and again, don't get nervous. There's a way out. It's God. He just said, tapping back in, coming back to God, coming back to source. We lost touch for a few years, and it's this reason here because ML goes and he's got the thing, but that's why he put us back. There's a little comedy in here because we're going to be okay. Everyone, don't freak out. We're going to be okay as long as you follow the plan, trust the plan, which is you, right? But God brought us back for this time because people were not ready for this shit 2 years ago. We are ready now, so it still may take a little while, but we're ready now. Trust the plan. It's us. The most important thing that you should be working on is we have to reconnect with source. It's not our fault. We were caught in the beast system. And this is why God is bringing the cream to the top, bringing the people to give you the real message to get you there. The great news is we've won. I do believe the beast is gone. I officially can feel that. And I'm going to stop saying that we're in the remnants of the devil and the beast. No, he's gone. His system is still here that we're brainwashed into, right? Does that make sense? I'm going to
Yes.
stop now, but you said something because I listen to ML. I'm out in the chat, and I love everyone. I'm not in the chat saying hello to everyone and taking time because I need to hear what ML is saying. I need to hear what ML is saying. I'm off camera, but I'm listening to every word because I want to change my life. I want to become a better person. I want to be completely in touch with God's source because I'm already starting to go there. That's why my life is changing. This is the memo. This is the memo that people need to be getting, what he's talking about, where we came from, where we're going, how it happened. No one is giving you this information. I hope you're listening.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that very much. Excuse me. So, again, you have this beast that has all these warped and trapped soul energies, right, in itself. And it's innocent because these soul energies, guys, they're like, they're intertwined with this beast. And because this beast had been, left to its own accord, over time it just got worse. And eventually to the point where it got so bad, where the God of the Old Testament rejected his own creation. He left it alone, is what he did, right? To do its own thing. And this innocent, trapped soul energy was trapped in there the whole time. So what the beast had to do in its fear, in its, fighting for existence, was to create slaves. Because it feared the free will of all other intelligent beings who might have actually, been connected to the God that rejected it initially. It feared it that much. It had to make slaves of them. And the slaves are trapped souls, or at least, part of their souls are trapped, spirit energy. With each deeper layer that descended into matter, and more disharmony was actually created, because at each layer, or you can actually think of it as like dimensional reality. It's its own universe, right? So each dimensional reality went deeper and deeper, and more spirit energies started being trapped. And then it turned it into matter and maligned with God's source. It, the being, as I said, was disconnected from God's source's light. So it couldn't assess its own truth anymore. It couldn't see its own true image. It could only see, because of its ego, what it desired. It could only, believe what feels good to believe. And it only believed the image that it wanted to project, that it wants to have it reflected back to it. It's all about that ego, right? It has no security. So therefore, if you have no security, you have no love. It had no love for others. That's how the beast became the beast, guys. The beast began, again, as these very, very powerful angels. They were called the powers. There are different levels of angelic realms. There's 3 different angelic realms, and within each angelic realm, there are 3 levels within each angelic realm. And these powers, these very powerful group of angels, they were mistakenly trusted by the God of the Old Testament. Because this group of angels had the power to manifest in thought. They were able to descend into matter on a massive and grand scale, and they were able to create their own universes where design and intention could actually become physical systems embodying beings just like in the blink of an eye. Whether that meant millions of our years or even just like mere seconds. So these fallen angels, they were extremely, extremely powerful manifestors. We can't even comprehend it. So God, Elohim, yeah, go ahead, brother.
No, I was going to wait, but when you're talking on stuff, it's like some of the things that I was going to talk about. So if you don't mind me stopping you, because then people can relate it right there. They don't have to go back or maybe watch the video again, because I didn't know, I'm just listening to you speak like everyone else. I'm learning as well. So again, we aren't the beast, right? But we're apparently, it's starting to make sense to everybody, hopefully, that we're caught in the beast system, right? Because up until, this way going along, like I'm sure, I'm hoping a lot of people are changing their life and they have great stories and stuff, but we're on the show. So I'm here. So I'm talking about me. I'm not making like I'm better, I'm the only one. I'm only giving my experiences for those that need to hear it. I hope everyone is here or above me and I can learn something from you. Like ML. Can only give you my experiences. So we're still stuck in the B system. So what we're fighting now and what we're experiencing out there, whatever, what we choose to stay in, if you want to stay in the B system, if you want to stay in following channels that are still telling you when, the RV's happening, the med beds are, they're coming. We got, even me last night, I could tell you, maybe later I'll touch on that. I even got caught up in the Tyson fight because I'm like, wait a minute, this is happening on a special day, whatever, it's JFK Jr.'s birthday. Someone did gematria that I saw. Maybe we'll see something. Not that I was waiting for it, but I even got caught up in it. God has me doing these things. I think God is putting me through a lot of things because he wants people to see what I've done, where I came from, and how I'm changing, like how my life is changing in real time. So I'm a little bit of a public figure in this movement, but I'm not the one just talking about shit. I'm transforming my life in real time for those that have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. That's, I believe, at this point in time, none of it makes sense back there, but all I can come up with is that God wants to put me with someone who knows, he's telling you exactly what's going on. And then he has the guy over here who started over here with the ego and all of that, wanted to be right about everything, that we got caught up in this psyop and this beast system. It's why family, I know you're relating to me, some family are on the top floor, the husband's on the second floor. They only see each other at the refrigerator or at the bathroom if they have one bathroom. And it's time to figure out, do you need to get out of that? Is that a toxic relationship? Because it, how was it before this thing started, before like the Q and all of these things, and we started to learn about all of this stuff in the B system, right? And I believe we all had to do what we had to do, say what we had to say. We're psychopaths, right? We're conspiracy theorists. We're in a cult. We had to go through all of that because your friends and family and everyone, they know everything already. They know everything. And it's you got to stop talking about it now. So do you choose to reconnect with source, or, learn how to do that? If you don't, now that you know the true meaning of source, it's not in a Bible, it's not in a script, sure. Are you willing to change your life like I am and go within? Are you willing to apologize if your relationship is not toxic? Learn the difference. Was your relationship toxic before the B system started to rear its ugly head for the world to start to understand what it is, so we can finally put an end to it? So I'm going back to a prior relationship because I had the revelation that I was the ego. I wanted it to be right. I got involved in the whole thing for a reason. I believe in it had to happen, but it's time to move on and go back to my old life. And I'm realizing I can't blame my friends and family for not understanding this. They have to get it on their time now. It's not our job anymore. I can clearly tell you that because I'm going back to a relationship and I have to go in a slow burn because I have to earn this person's trust back because they don't understand this stuff. They don't want to hear what I have to say. They've heard everything I had to say. So it's not my job. I promised them, and I did this several times along the way, but I could not hold up my end of the bargain. I promised that I would never say another word. I would never share another meme. I would never share another red pill. And I couldn't hold up to that bargain until I went within and I learned that I have to focus on Christ within source, and I have to get back to love, because source and God is unconditional, pure love without a beast, without manipulation. And I'm learning to do that. That's why my life is growing. I'm having things come into my life. I have music back in my life because I'm putting the blinders on. I can't do it every single day. And last night I fell. I shared some things about Tyson, talking about JFK Jr., bet the house on Tyson. I even did it last night, but I promised myself when I woke up today that I'm done with the Matrix. I'm done with the B system. I'm done trying to talk about any of that stuff. We did it all. We did it all. So is your relationship worth you? And I believe you will get rewarded in the future, in the near future. Are your friends and family worth? Because you're not getting a system in 10 Day of Darkness and all of that, because that will make your loved ones jump off the roof. You want them to get that. You got to get out of that, and you got to let them come around on their own time. And you know how they'll do that, and you know how they'll start listening to you, like my prior relationship is. We're having 3-hour phone conversations of complete peace. It's been years since I've been able to do that. You know why? Because I left the B system behind, and I promised this time that I would never say a word about any of that stuff unless I was asked. And they actually watched our first show, and I didn't get beat up over it. We had a nice, mellow conversation. Isn't that amazing? So, do you want to do
That's
that?
awesome.
To start talking to your loved ones, I think you're batshit crazy. Put down the sword, put down the shield, put down the red pill, put down the beast. You've done everything that you were asked to do. You've done everything that you were asked to do. Almost. Thank you, faithful servants. I believe Source wanted me to tell you that. Now he wants you to patch up your relationship if it was a good relationship before you started to do what you were asked to do. He used his warriors that could go through that could get cast to the side, cast into the garbage, not understood, called an absolute effing lunatic. You were asked to do that because you're strong enough to do that. We were strong enough to do that. It's time to bring love back into the picture, unity, and get back with your loved ones and your family if it's worth it. I know Christmas is not a very good thing, but I'm going to celebrate Christmas this year with the ones, because I've removed myself from Christmas. Could you imagine how your friends and family? I don't want to celebrate a pagan. I don't want to celebrate a pagan holiday. I'm not celebrating Christmas this year. I'm going to participate in it because my friends and family didn't get the memo yet about it. Doesn't make me a pagan. I'm going to do that for them because I remove myself, and they're like, why doesn't he not love us? Why won't he stop by for Thanksgiving, which might be another one? But I'm going to participate in these holidays because my friends and my family didn't get the memo yet. I'm going to show up, and I'm going to participate for them with them, and I'm going to love them. Do you understand how this goes? Do you understand how this movie ends? It's time to go back and to be the unity, be the love, because that's our next job. That's the final job. And when they start to understand, even after all of that, how we were treated when they didn't understand it, when they start to understand these things, because God is so good, God is going to unveil. God's plan is not finished yet. God is going to unveil this stuff. You're not going to. We're on God's timing. So our job, I just believe, because I believe that hopefully you listen to me, because my life is improving. I'm going back to a relationship because I held a flame for this thing. And I have to prove to her. I'm not walking in there. This isn't an officer and a gentleman moment. I have to go in and prove my love to this person, to my family, to my friends. I'm starting to reconnect with friends. I saw one today that thought I was batshit crazy. They still think. But the fact that I'm not talking about this anymore, and I'm talking about the things that we were connected with in our prior life, like music and certain things, my life is starting, my old life is starting to come back, but tenfold, because now I know how to love. Truly, I learned how to love along this journey, because a lot of people could not learn how to love because we were caught in the beast system. You understand? The beast is gone. Evil is gone. The system is still here. But do you know where the system is? It's not out there. We don't have to go defeat the system. The system is within us, because that's what we were put into. The final end of this beautiful love story is we have to get the beast system out of us. And that's by bringing source, and only source, and love and unity, and start being the people that that God source, the one true creator, the one true source, created us to be. That's what we're shifting into. This is a lot to take in, and this is coming out in real time. In real time, as ML is speaking about it, because I don't know, because I've raised my frequency and I can hear his words as the truth, and I know what I have to do to fulfill what I need to fulfill. I'll pause there.
Love it, brother. Thank you. That was beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. All right, I gotta remember my train of thought where I was at because that was amazing. Okay, so I guess where I was at was talking about the fallen angels, right? They were really, really super powerful. And I think, God, again, of the Old Testament, didn't realize that he perhaps probably trusted them just a little too much. That they could even be a smidgen different from him before, he endowed them and then sent them on their way. So, these angels, they fell. They became, again, the beast, the host of this soul group, Satan. And when God saw what, he and they done, he was horrified. When you go to, Genesis 6, and it says very clearly in there, and, and it repented that, the Lord, that he made man on earth, and it grieved him in his heart. And, the Lord said, I'm going to destroy man, who I created from the face of this earth. I'm going to create, I'm going to destroy both the man and beast and creeping things and fowls of the air. For it repenteth me that he made them. So twice in two scripture passages, 5 and 6, in Genesis chapter 6, the Lord, referring to the Lord of the Old Testament, God of the Old Testament, said twice that he repented for allowing this to go on. Nowhere, and when you bring that up again to your Sunday school leaders, they're going to think you're off your rocker. But show them. It says it right there. Now, I utilize the King James Version. The reason why I use the King James Version is because all the other modern day variations of the Bible, or the iterations of the Bible, are predicated off of the King James. And so, due to translations or transliterations, they're going to be significantly different. So even if you go to the Geneva Bible, which I utilize the Geneva Bible, it says the same thing. That God, the Elohim, repented for allowing this to happen and had no choice but to wipe man and beast off the earth. Even God wanted to pretend that mistake didn't even happen, but he couldn't do that, right? All he could do is reject them and condemn them, banish them is what he did. But none of this would even work because God already created them. And God couldn't go against God as a creator. So God had a problem. He had to amend. So he came face to face with this problem when, the serpent races were not about to surrender to, they weren't going to surrender this creation, the 3D Earth Terra, to us humans, us light-filled beings, who we were created to express harmony with God's source before we were actually, reduced to like carbon density by the Anunnakis. Because prior to that, we were, crystalline based. So these earlier humans, because human, it's a two-syllable word. Hue, light, man, manifest. We manifest light. From the beginning, God said, let there be light. So these earlier humans were of sun god Ra. And Ra I don't know. I guess we can question, was Ra a purely good god? A real god? Doesn't really matter, honestly, at the point, because Ra, at that point in time, was a good source, at least compared to the beast that it had long banished ago. And the beast knew that. The beast said, nah, you're not going to destroy me. And you know, God, you're going to see what kind of fight I can put up, right? Not to be destroyed, because you, God, you created me, you gave me power, and now I have the right to exist. Thus, the plan to amend, guided by the Lord of hosts, was born in Genesis. So the beast, through its host of whatever beings, hybrids, or humans that come through it now, has long known that this great epic, this grand experiment, is about him, because it's a perversion of the masculine descending agenda. It gets perverted into this destructive force. It destroys to feed itself. And the antidote is ascension. Its enemy is the feminine. This is why in the golden age, the age of Aquarius, we are now seeing the rise of the divine feminine spirit taking her rightful place once again, ushering us in to this new age. The beast, well, the beast has known this from the start, guys. But as typical humans, of course, we can't even begin to wrap our heads around that. But still, the beast knows the deal. They either realign with the infinite prime creator God source, or they're going to be destroyed. There's only two options there. So the beast gets this chance because a whole lot of beast is actually quite innocent in this whole thing. It just doesn't know which part, because it can't identify that by itself. You see, it knows the rules, but it doesn't trust the ruler. So it wants to be that ruler because it's confused. It's in a state of disconnection, and it fears its own destruction. Yeah.
So I was trying to figure out after, again, I just mentioned the Tyson fight last night, right? I got like wrapped in it. I thought, and you just fully explained to me, which I thought, but I wasn't able to really put it together and into words, and now I can, because you just spoke about the divine feminine. So what you watched last night with the Tyson event, I'm not gonna call it. Now it's a new. I have a new name for it. The Divine Feminine event. Because if you watch that, you watched two women beat the living piss out of each other, really fighting. I mean, ripped open eyes. I mean, you watched like a real fight, right? And then you watched us. It was staged, but not staged like normally in the past. Like, a fighter, yeah, I'll go in 10 million. I'll risk getting a little brain damage, from Mike Tyson, 25 years ago. That's what you witnessed last night. So you watched the divine, and if you had ears, because I was listening to everything, like what's going on, like that's why I'm like, why is the whole world watching like worldwide one of these biggest events with Tyson coming back? Had nothing to do with Tyson. Well, maybe a little bit about, maybe keep going. Age is a number, even though he didn't win. The guy's going to be 50, he's 58 years old, whatever. And then you hear the nice things, and then the guy gives respect, right? The young guy should have, if you watch the previews, the young guy should have beat the living piss out of Tyson last night if you were just watching. And so that it wasn't for that. It was to draw. This is how good God is. God is going to do something. You don't know what's going on, and he's educating you. So he educated everyone that watched last night. You heard you watched women pour their hearts out, fight their hearts out, and you watched corruption, because I believe the other woman should have won. So you watched corruption in sports, but you watched two women beat the piss out of each other. And if you heard them, you heard them say right on the thing, her story instead of history. Did anyone hear that?
Yep. Yep.
That's the first time I heard her story used like on a grand scale. People were arguing with me today. I'm like, well, send me the recording of where you heard a television show say her story or whatever. So you see how God works. So we subconsciously got educated last night. We watched Divine Feminine that have been suppressed from everything. Like you've got this shit made up religion where women have to you can't even show their faces. This is all shit made up. The woman has been suppressed. So Divine Feminine is emerging out of the beast system. See that? So you should find a place, Emma, about an hour and 20 soon before you're going into another subject, because you hit on things that I couldn't not speak about and talk about, because we have to digest this. So let me know, however far along you want to go. But like, this is such a good digestive point of what's happening. So I'll shut up for a minute and I'll find another place to come in and interrupt you, I'm sure.
All right. Well, I'll do one more segment and then we'll have you close us out here, because I don't want to give too much to you guys all at once. So we'll do a second follow-up and we'll do a third follow-up if that's what we have to do, because I'm pretty confident that's exactly what we're going to have to do. This is very in-depth. So again, this Anunnaki serpent race has been ruling on its own without any help from God source, guys, for many, many, many eons. So it feels quite insecure, in this new game that was born in Genesis. Because, Genesis allegedly happened 5,000-6,000 years ago, if you go off of biblical chronological timelines. But this epic has been going on for hundreds of thousands of years, guys. Okay? So when the time period of Genesis, the Adam-Eve project took place, and there were multiple Adam and Eve projects. Actually, even before Eve, there was Lilith. That's a whole nother thing to get into another time. So the beast of the fallen angels has been enjoying and using its, hyperdimensional creative abilities to manifest without even being checked by anyone for a really, really, really long time. The beast found a way not to need God's source in creating, but it really wasn't creating. It was creating false light. Now, way back, when the God of the Old Testament condemned and banished the beast, it denied it everlasting life that source was willing to grant the beings that it aligned with. But it still had, the power it was left with when God rejected it. So it set out to use this power in any way that it could in order to sustain itself, right? So the Anunnaki and their serpent races have the powers of these fallen angels to create in thought of manifestation. That's what made them a demigod. They weren't really gods. They were a demigod, pretending to be gods. So their abilities to steal the spiritual energy of others and then trap it into these denser and denser forms of matter that are maligned to God's source, which is actually out of harmony with truth, are part of this metaphysical laws of creation. And essentially, these metaphysical laws of creation, they have these loopholes in them. And these loopholes allows the the stealing and the trapping into disharmony to happen. This is the primary anomaly by which these angels fell, guys. It's so very powerful that it still rules over the earth. As its practitioners, they worship Baal, however you pronounce that, and they make these satanic sacrifices, giving the beast stolen spirit energy, are the people who control most of the world's money and resources. That's why money is called currency. It's a frequency. We are the only human species in our universe that uses this form of currency. And they've been doing this since the dawn of mankind. Hell, they even survived the Great Flood, and the Great Flood was a regional event. It wasn't even a worldly event. It was a regional event. They remember things that like 99.999% of humans have never known, guys. Again, the beast knows the deal. Realign with source or be destroyed. The beast is embodied in Anunnaki races such as these reptilian Jehovian white Dracos, who may actually not even be embodied beyond their hyperdimensional states, except, when they possess the body of somebody else. And regardless, the original spirit, soul energy of these beings, they don't have to be destroyed in the grand experiment of this great epic. The spirit energy of these reptilian beings, whether they were these great white Dracos or even much, much more innocent minion, slave races, they get their chance to reharmonize with God Source's light, and they get to, reintegrate with humanity by being, I guess what you'd say, like foster hosted humans. We were created in our current form to serve this purpose. We, through free will, get to choose, guided by God, the Lord of hosts, the Christ. We get to choose like how much of the beast we want to host. Think of Satan as the spirit of the beast. Are you going to host Satan or God's source? The Christos guides us. So now that we're here in this, in times of the grand experiment, the planet's ruling wealthiest elites in their secret societies are desperately, desperately trying, to stave off their judgment and their destruction. And this is a big part of the secret of the wealthy elites, and it brings this whole picture together when you realize they're now actively and they're desperately trying to save themselves from God's wrath because they know the deal, guys. They know the deal. I'll leave it with there, brother. I'll leave it with there.
The Holy Spirit's going because you set me up. It's like you're the quarterback and you just threw the pass. Whoa, I got it, ML. I got it, Jesus. You just made ML throw the pass. We have to leave that behind, right? If you're in this movement, or whether you believe, and you've been red pilling, right? And if you believe that, which I do, I believe that that's an operation going on out there, a military, a biblical operation, and everything's coming full circle right now. So and this is why I wonder why people, even me, I'm just as guilty, even right up until last night, but I'm fully cleansed. I might have actually went up another dimension tonight, ML. I might have activated some more DNA. Thank you for doing that, because I'm no longer interested in anything that's going on out there, because we're the only ones. How do I put this? Because it just downloaded when you were talking. We are the only ones that are keeping the B system here right now. All right. How do I explain that? Just came full circle, because you just said it too, and it makes total sense, right? Because I'm hearing all of these things and I just know it's the truth. We are responsible. It's up to us to get rid of the B system. If you're still caught up in who Trump picked, to take care of the border and his bathroom, little fun. We got a little fun. And you're like, oh, and you're sharing, and you're still in the Telegram groups, sharing all of the Whiplash said this and the RV and the money and the med bed and the thing. You're not doing what you're not graduating into what source wants you to do. The B system is gone out there. It's in you. And when you're on the channels looking, waiting for that information that's going to save you and do that, there's no information that is coming to save you. The information is here because it's God, it's source. It's you removing that beast system, not caught up in the system of the show. That show, here it is. That show out there still continues. What Trump is doing, and the thing, and this, and the RV. That show will continue until you put an end to it. Until you unwrap yourself out of that beast. That's why that show is only going on to highlight who's going to stay wrapped up in it. And I have to be a mean guy because I'm not here for friends or followers. I'm here for the truth, and I'm here for peace on earth. And after what this place looks like when the beast system is gone, and the beast system only resides in each and every one of us. There's probably still a little level of beast system in me, not as much as others, because I'm getting the memo. Because I'm trying to bring source in and blow the beast system out. Bring source in. Get in touch with love, get back to unity, get back to your friends and family. Unless they're absolutely toxic, then get the F out of town and move on with your new life. If it's toxic because you made it toxic, which you were supposed to do on some level, because you were supposed to let them know what was going on, because the mainstream media didn't let them know what was going on, right? So how amazing are all of us? We did what God wanted. We let everyone know what was going on ad nauseum, to the fact that they don't talk to you anymore. And now they got all the memo. Everything you said is in here with them. They got it. So when it starts to unfold, we're going to unfold it, because we're going to bring love and peace and unity back and say, yeah, no, I know I must have really looked like a crazy person, but you know what? I'm looking to turn the page, almost apologize, because your reward later will be that they're going to get the memo. They're going to be coming back to you. It's not about I told you so moment. It's about the love, the unity. And at some point in the future, if you can humble yourself, get rid of the ego, the beast system that still resides within you, go back and show love and apologize and love them to pieces if they deserve it, if you had it before the beast system reared its ugly head, which it had to. We had to do that again. I'm telling you, it's wonderful what we did. We had to do, we did what we were asked to do. Now we're being asked to unify. And if you're still listening to Trump and you want to listen to every rally and every, well, then more rallies and speech, it's all about unity. It's about unity and success. So let the system play out. Let the new administration play out. Success is going to come back in. People are going to be at ease. Their hair will start to grow back because they shaved it all off. I think women still can untube their tie. So they shave their head, tie their tubes, so let them go through that system. Their hair will grow back. They'll untie their tubes. Let love is going to do all of that. Success. Get rid of the beast system that still resides within us, which is in the form simply of the ego. Because beast system sounds scary, right? So get rid of your ego of wanting to be right, because I did. And that's why I'm having hours conversations. It's why I'm going to love my ex. I'm going to do what she asks for me. I'm removing myself from a lot of social media. I don't have to get wrapped up in this anymore because I know the whole thing. Why would I stay wrapped up in that? I can go on forever and ever, but I really hope that this is making sense. And I'm praying for everyone that you get to salvage your relationships and remove the ego. Go apologize. You're more important to me that, being wrapped up in all of these things, because they're going to get the memo in the future. And then you'll get your I told you so moment, but you don't have to do that, because you'll be reunited, you'll be in love, and they're going to appreciate so much in the future what you did for them. Maybe they'll, if you still need to thank you at that time, and hey, you're great, you're my hero. If you still need that at that time, maybe you'll get it. But I don't need that. I don't need that anymore. I need love, and I need harmony, and that is our last. That's our last task in this mission, because love, unconditional love, purging the beast system out, bringing the source in, which is pure unconditional love, is going to raise the frequency on this planet. I've been raising my frequency. It's why I have music back in my life. It's why I'm an actual bona fide music artist. My music, the 2 song, well, That's America is still not available worldwide, but Thank You for Coming is available worldwide on all streaming platforms. It hasn't taken off yet because I haven't fully purged the beast system out. But I want to tell you what manifestation, this isn't ego. I want to tell you what manifestation looks like. I manifested these things. Once I fully purged the beast system out and I'm operating in pure love or as close as possible to it, God is going to release Thank You for Coming like a beast all over the world. And it's going to change my life because I manifested it. That's America. When that gets released, Trump and the Trump team and major patriots across the world are going to share my song, and that's going to change everything overnight because I manifested it. I'm not getting it yet because I have more work. I have more internal work to do. You understand that? So I hope, and I'm putting these on record, and I've been, because if you're still not getting this, whatever, in a few weeks or a month or whenever, Thank You for Coming becomes a global #1 epic hit because I manifested that, but I'm not getting it until I complete my final task. And Source is completely happy with me and knows that my heart is pure. Then he's gonna reward me with be abundance beyond my wildest dreams, and all of you, when you get the memo. I hope that makes sense. I'm not special or more or different than anyone else. God just has me showing how things can work in real time for the people that it's going to take a little longer. And I think that's why I had to just come back with ML. I can clearly tell everyone these are the only shows I'm going to be doing with ML. If I'm on another platform, I don't need to go on another platform because that's just going to be another truther wanting to share what ML is got the goods for you here. You need to just listen to this from Mel. Clearly, Saint Germain and the angelics have ordained him to give you this message at this time, and the knucklehead with the stethoscope to be his sidekick with a little comedy. But it's not, we're having a little fun, but I'm telling you because my life is changing in real time, and so I guess the people that were around get to see that, because people tell me all the time, wow, the growth in you, Tenor. It's because I understand what's going on, and I've been purging the beast system out. Now I know how to explain it exactly how it happened. You see how this works? You see how good God is? You see how he brought the people together that could bring you the memo, not only from the educational standpoint, but a guy who's actually living it and is changing his life in real time. And if I got to be that guy, hey, so be it, man. That's it. We all signed up for this, and we're all going to the same place. Where we go one, we go all. Right? That's what this is. The best is yet to come. But we have to do the work. So I encourage you strongly to start to remove yourself out of that beast system. Do you need to know? All of those people were taken care of already. Like, you think you have to wait for somebody to get arrested for pedophilia or whatever? Whatever they're going to give dribs and drags along the way, but we're not going to see much of it. We're not going to see a lot of it. I think it's going to unfold over time, but that's a presentation that's being done, and I think it will go on as long as it takes for everyone to get the memo today. I believe that presentation will continue until we get rid of the beast system and we bring love in. And how about if you bring more love in and you remove yourself from that beast system, then maybe you'll get some of those things that you wanted to see, but you're not going to need them, right? Because we don't need to see these things. We already know what happened. We already know how this ends. Everyone else needs to see that. You don't need to tell them about it anymore. Watch it with them. Like if someone gets hurt, say, oh, look, did you see? Right? Like that's not getting rid of the beast system. That's not love. That's not compassion. You're not going to have to do that. Like, again, repetition, like ML said, I got to drive this home. And if you're done, ML, that's it.
Yep.
All I have for me is I'm just trying to, I'm spending money like kind of I don't have where, it costs money to record songs. We're going in to record a Christmas song. I'm a bona fide artist. I'm manifesting. I'm changing my life. You want to support me? I would love for you to support. It's not about buying a thing, and you don't have to have subscriptions to come here to listen to us to tell the truth. Go to thankyouforcoming.com and please digitally download the song for 99 cents off the website. That's the support I'll ask for. I'm giving you something. I'm giving you something beautiful. I wrote a beautiful song with God because I'm getting rid of the B system. And I was able to get back into music and write my first song. You see how this works? My life is changing. Like I'm so happy, guys. I talk to the phone. I talk on the phone with ML. I'm like, I feel like I'm literally maybe 20 minutes away from starting to levitate because I'm such at peace. And I'm bringing all of these things back into my life, and I'm no different or more special than you because I'm already starting to implement these things that ML is dropping on you. I hope you understand that. I just want to inspire you to do the same thing. We're all the same. I'm only talking to the people that are still stressing out, and wondering what's coming next. And what's coming next is Christ consciousness. Bring him in. The more of him you bring in, the more of the B system you remove out. I hope that makes sense. And that's it. I think ML's gonna play the song. If it's fudgy and thing, go to thankyouforcoming.com. You don't have to spend any money. The music video in all its glory is on thankyouforcoming.com. And if you guys haven't hooked up with me, when you're there, I think up top it says Tenor Talk. You can find me on all of my social media. But you're gonna see me with ML as we ride out. I'm not even going to call it the storm. We're not in a storm anymore because I removed myself from the storm. I threw my umbrella out. It's sunny skies over here in Tenorville because I'm getting rid of the B system. It doesn't consume me anymore. I shut the movie off. I shut it off. I shut that movie off. That movie's there to hopefully you get the memo now, but that movie's going to continue until you say, you know what? I don't need to see this movie anymore. I know what happened. It already happened. That's a movie for someone that doesn't know what the F is going on, which is a lot of people It's not you. So let that movie unfold for the people that need to see what news is coming when it needs to come, because you don't. Go love those people. If you love them, they'll be able to see the movie more clearly, but you're not going to have to say a word. They're going to start asking you questions in the future. I guarantee you. And that's what you need to be there for. That's what you need to be there for. So I hope you enjoy the song. If it's blurry, whatever, sit down quietly after this and treat yourself for free. The music videos on thankyouforcoming.com and listen to the song that God wrote with me, because I manifested and I asked him and I connected with him and I wrote my first song in a day. I can't do this stuff without God. Don't you want to have these beautiful things in your life if you don't have them yet? Get rid of the B system and get more in touch with source. That's it. I love you guys. We'll let you know when ML is going to continue, and I might have a couple of things to say.
I was so lost and looking. That's when you came. Now that you're here, my life will never be the same. I wish I knew all this time you've always been here to show me what's right, turn the dark into light, take away all of my fear. Sun is shining, the birds are singing, singing your name. Flowers in bloom, the sky's Tiffany blue. I'm so glad you came, and you came to me. When I cried out your name on the night I nights when you